the only two types of marketing and how to decide which of these two is best for you and what mix between these two is best for your law firm. In this episode of the Law Firm Growth Accelerator podcast, we're going to break down the differences between demand marketing and awareness marketing. This is chapter 7 and 8 in our book, Law Firm Growth Accelerator. We get a lot of questions about what is the most effective way to market my law firm. And unfortunately, it's different based on your firm's size, your practice area, your goals, how much you want to grow, how much you don't want to grow, whether you're optimizing for profits right now or optimizing for scale and top line growth. It really is it depends kind of lawyer answer in some ways. But what we've done in this section of the book is we've tried to break down the trade-offs behind, a demand marketing strategy and an awareness marketing strategy, and how much of your efforts should you put into either one of these two strategies. So first, let me break down demand marketing. This is a reactive strategy, as we talk about in the book. You get leads when potential clients search for you. They are actively in demand for your services. So when we look at this, we realize very quickly that if I want to make an immediate one-for-one ROI, the best way for me to do that is to get really good at what's called demand marketing, meaning I put $1 in, I get $3 out predictably, reliably. That is where we see demand marketing work the best, is where you're looking for a directly attributable ROI. And we call it demand marketing because there are really only two cohorts of people if you break down your target clientele or potential clients who have not yet hired you. There's really people who know they need a lawyer and are in search of a lawyer, right? That's the demand cohort. And then there's people who do not yet know that they need a lawyer or who have not started searching for a lawyer, right? And that is the bucket of awareness marketing, right? So awareness marketing, this is a proactive strategy, right? So demand marketing is reactive, meaning someone searches for your law firm and you show up with an advertisement on Google or directory, right? Awareness marketing is a proactive strategy. This is where you're putting your law firm in front of people when they're not searching for you, right? So you build awareness in potential clients before they're actually looking to hire a lawyer, right? So the thing that I always want to, whenever I teach marketing, is I always want to come back to the fact that while tactics always will change in marketing, principles will almost never change, right? Principles are timeless, right? And which of these two strategies we choose for our law firm, really the principles of knowing your client's fears and desires, having a unique selling proposition, all these things still matter. And in addition to these baseline principles mattering, we also have to decide what actual strategy and boots to the ground plan we're going to use to market our firms and how much eggs we're going to put in each basket. So we're going to first break down demand marketing, right? So if you think, where do people demand law firms, right? Well, if you look at the highest traffic website in the world, it's Google. And Google is primarily has been over the last couple decades the primary place through which people demand lawyers, right? So people go onto Google and they type in things like personal injury lawyer near me, personal injury lawyer town name, criminal defense lawyer, family law attorney, immigration attorney, estate planning lawyer, or a long tail keyword, right? Like how to file divorce in Texas, car accident payout amount for soft tissue injury, right? If someone were to type that in, that would be more of a long tail search. Regardless, when someone searches you out, we call that demand marketing, right? Now, whether or not you show up as a prospective choice for that person who is demanding legal services or an answer to a question, whether you show up is ultimately a depiction of how aggressive you're being with your demand marketing strategy. So I really want to look at demand marketing as really, this is primarily your Google strategy, right? Now, I'll add a quick little caveat. We've seen search traffic on Google go down. We haven't seen this yet for law firm related searches, but we have seen it in other areas of business and other areas of research where people are increasingly using AI search engines and AI bots like ChatGPT to answer their questions. And search traffic has decreased at Google as a result of this, even though Google has Gemini and their own AI innovations. There's an increasing demand for people seeking answers to solutions through AI. So we can also kind of expand our definition of demand marketing is, do you show up in ChatGPT? Do you show up in Perplexity? Do you show up in the other AI search engines where people are in demand of legal services? Although that, as a current filming of this, that's a small percent, it's going to be growing in the future, okay? So if we reverse engineer from how do you get a business to show up on Google? How do you get a law firm to show up on Google? There's fundamental truths that, have to exist in order for you to show up on Google. So what is page one of Google? Well, in essence, there's local services ads at the top of Google. Beneath the local services ads, there's going to be your search advertisements. Beneath the search advertisements, there's going to be the Google Maps section, and then beneath the Google Maps section is the organic SEO section, right? So you really have 4 sections of where your law firm can show up on Google, okay? Now, local services ads, these are those horizontal, some of them are now vertically placed, Google guaranteed ads. These are pay per lead ads where you only pay for qualified leads. Now, recently, they've made it a little bit harder to dispute leads and get credits on leads that were unqualified. But nonetheless, it's a pay per lead service. The number one determinant as to whether or not you're successful in local services ads is going to be your reviews, because this is an extension of your Google business profile, right? So to get good at that portion of demand marketing, local services ads, which is the highest ROI platform for most practice areas, excluding PI, highly competitive like car accident keywords. I'll explain the tangent there in a second. Local services ads are the highest ROI across the board, on average, across most practice areas of law. And your 5-star reviews or lack of them is going to be one of the key factors as to whether or not you succeed. Your physical location of your office is going to be another mission critical element as to whether or not you succeed, right? If you want clients in Detroit, Michigan, but you're located in Flint, Michigan, right? Somewhere far away from Detroit, because your physical office presence ties into where your local service ads show up, it's going to be harder for you to show up in Detroit if your physical office is far away from Detroit, as an example. So, another optimization strategy is to set up multiple business locations for your business so that your firm is showing up. Your firm's physical location is in the area in which you want to attract cases, because proximity is so important to getting leads from local service ads. And then response time. This is basically how you treat the leads that come in from your local service ads campaign. Google wants to give people a great experience on their website so people come back and use it again. So if people call your firm or message your firm through a local service ad and you're non-responsive, that's actually going to ding you in terms of your local service ads rankings, which is why we break all this down to radius, reviews, and response time as the 3 factors that allow you to actually dominate local service ads. Now, the nuance I shared is around personal injury. Personal injury is so competitive that even if you're flooded with 5-star reviews, even if your physical business location is in an area that you want to attract cases in, there's so many personal injury attorneys in any given market and so much higher budgets in personal injury that we've had clients who we've ran local service ads campaign for. We told Google, hey, we're willing to spend $200,000 a month, right? We're willing, like a $200,000 a month budget. We told Google you can spend $200,000 a month for this client because they approved that size of a budget. We've had people who set a budget of $200,000 a month and their ads don't even show up in personal injury at all. I mean, this one client I'm talking about, 1 month they only spent like $2,000 on their local service ads. The ads just weren't showing up because there's so much inventory. There's so little inventory because so many firms have hopped on local service ads that it's rotating through so many different law firms that, however they rotate through law firms, like sometimes your firm won't even show up in a month, even if you set an exorbitant budget, right? Okay, the second section on Google is the section below the local service ads, and this is the Google search ads section. Okay, the Google search ads section, this is where you do traditional keyword bidding, right? Whereas in the local service ads, you do what's called category bidding, where you select categories of case types. It's much more broad targeting when you do local service ads. With Google search ads, you can get way more specific with device targeting, demographic targeting, and keyword targeting and keyword exclusions. I'll give you an example. So, and this is mission critical to have success on Google search ads. So many attorneys have been, quote, burned by Google search ads strictly because they didn't have good targeting set up, right? Targeting is the key to success on Google ads, because if you don't get your targeting set up, you're just going to waste money on unqualified clicks and leads. So let's look at, proper targeting for a personal injury firm, right? Personal injury firms, like I think it's 90% of conversions come from mobile devices. So you can pretty surely just cut out desktops, right? And oftentimes when you're running personal injury search campaigns, same thing with criminal defense. These are immediate need niches of law. You can pretty surefire just run mobile ads almost exclusively on mobile devices, not even show your ads on desktops. That's one. Two, income bracket targeting. Depending on who you target, personal injury firms actually do really well targeting the lower 50% income brackets. Estate planning firms do really well targeting the higher income brackets, right? And excluding the lower 50% or even lower 80% income brackets, okay? So you have demographic targeting, okay? You have gender targeting. You can target males or females, right? So let's say that you're a father's rights divorce law firm, right? Clearly, you want to target only men with your ads. That cuts out half the population, right? Why would a woman hire a men's rights law firm, right? So, these little things have a huge disproportionate lift on your return on investment because you're not showing your ads to people who are unqualified to buy your legal services. So device, demographics, you have your keyword selection, right? So it's mission critical to know what keywords produce signed cases for your practice area, not clicks, not conversions, right? That's why what we've done here at S&B is we've analyzed the source of tens of thousands of signed cases to know where signed cases come from. Example is, in PI, for car accidents, abogados and accident lawyer pulls in more car accident cases than injury lawyer, as a brief example. Going into the niches of immigration law works way better, like visa specific plus the word lawyer keywords, and not targeting immigration lawyer, which is just a bucket term where people haven't really decided on the specialization they need within immigration yet. There's so many little nuanced shifts you can make by just excluding entire keyword groups. And if you don't exclude these keyword groups, sometimes you can waste tens of thousands of dollars in 1 month on people that weren't as targeted as they could be. So your search ad strategy, we've found, is mission critical to get right from a targeting perspective specifically. So, and the way we're looking at Google search, your page one Google strategy, i.e. your demand strategy, is again, what we're going vertical down the page of Google because that's where people's eyes go, right? So it's my strong belief that we first need a Google ad strategy with local service ads and search ads, which are your paid advertisements. Then we need a Google Maps strategy, right? Google Maps is all done through your SEO, right? So it's going to be your website, your content, your backlinks, your reviews tie into your ranking factors, backlinks being third-party websites that are mentioning your website and the authority of those websites, content being your blog posts that you have online, There's also a little bit of cross contamination in a good way that happens if you have social media content online. That's called social signals as a ranking factor. So these are the things that you do to get your law firm ranked really high in Google Maps, okay? And if you could just figure out those three things, your local service ad strategy, your Google search ad strategy, and your Google Maps strategy, that's 85% of the battle, right? Then we can get to organic SEO later, once we've conquered these first three, because your best bet is your direct ROI coming from those top three channels. And also it's a speed thing, right? It's a lot faster to get your firm working on paid ads and maps than it is to get your firm working on organic SEO in most cases, as we've found with the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of law firms that do website and SEO with us. So that's, in a nutshell, that's your search ad strategy. That's your demand marketing strategy, right? So your potential lead does a Google search for your law firm specialty. Your firm reacts by showing an ad to them or showing up in Google Maps, right? The person is in demand to your services, which is where the name demand marketing comes from. And that's why it is called reactive marketing, because you're reacting to someone's search for your law firm. Now, what are the things that get your firm ranked in ChatGPT? Well, it's very similar to the things that get your firm ranked in Google search ads, right? Your content on your website. If you have zero content talking about a specialty of law or some niche case type that you want to attract more of, where's ChatGPT how are they going to know through osmosis that your firm is credible to recommend when someone searches for, find me the best personal injury lawyer in my state, right? And they do a ChatGPT search. A lot of your SEO content is going to be what pulls over, okay? So your SEO content, your reviews, when you ask for like, who is the best law firm, who is the most reputable law firm, your reviews are going to be mission critical for that as well, right? Now, the nuanced thing we're starting to see is things like online mentions of your firm, specifically like Reddit, right? Reddit threads has been proven that it is something that ChatGPT looks at and has been trained on in its ranking factors. So, online mentions of your law firm by third parties like Reddit threads, is another thing that kind of ties into your rankings in ChatGPT. So your overall presence really is the ranking factor that we believe matters most in ChatGPT. Although there are some nuances on things you can focus a little bit more on. For example, you have to be set up on, Bing's Maps system, and Microsoft owns Bing. Microsoft owns ChatGPT. So a lot of the porting, the information that ChatGPT reads from is through quote unquote Microsoft's properties. So while it may pull from your Google reviews indirectly through, the Bing architecture or whatever, you've got to have your firm listed on all maps. Apple Maps, you've got to have it listed on, every single conceivable online platform, so that your information is getting over to Microsoft's pull so that it can go to ChatGPT. So another thing that we've seen in demand marketing that I like to include is, your online directory strategy. So, okay, why do people go to sites like Avo where they like rank attorneys, from top to bottom, when we all know there's sponsored listings? Most prospective clients don't know there's, sponsored listings. That's another form of demand marketing. Sometimes people get to Avo through organic search, the section below the maps. That's actually where most of the traffic comes from for law firms is, let's say Avo, Super Lawyers, etc. These big budget websites are usually going to be the websites that show up at a higher volume in that section below the maps, that Google organic SEO section. So you can just pay to play there, right? You can just sponsor to be the first law firm that shows up in your market as the sponsored kind of number one choice on Avo or Super Lawyers. Pay to play. And that's another, it doesn't work in, call it, 60% of markets to 80% of markets. These sponsored listings don't work that well. You also get a lot of bottom of the barrel leads. These are leads that, sifted through, all of the above listings, Google Maps, and have, maybe their case has been turned down. Maybe they didn't have the money. So you get a lot of unqualified leads from doing sponsored listings just because you're getting someone as the fourth touch point, right? The local services ads, the search ads, the Google Maps, and then the organic SEO section. That's why a lot of people who have invested in organic SEO or these directories have noticed that there's a lot of tire kicker leads that come in, or leads that are unqualified, because they are technically the bottom of the barrel because they're coming in from the bottom of page 1 of Google. You could be first in the ranking first in the organic section of Google SEO, and still someone has to scroll past all the ads at the top, local service ads, all the search ads at the top, all the Google Map listings. They have to scroll through all that to finally see you as the first choice. So you're actually like the 10th choice when you're the first choice on organic SEO, right? So that's why, most firms we work with, we don't recommend you put out tens of thousands of words of content every month on your organic SEO. The only reason I'm now kind of changing a little bit on that to get more aggressive on your content strategy is ChatGPT. If it helps your ChatGPT rankings, there are no sponsored ads as of yet on ChatGPT. So you showing up first in ChatGPT, which is primarily through your organic rankings, that may make investing in your organic SEO more worthwhile. So that's all your demand marketing strategy. Like, how much are you going to invest in this as a portion of your overall budget? So the reason this is an important decision for you is, like I said, depending on your firm's size, demand marketing could be the most important thing that you do, or it could be the least important thing that you do, right? If your firm is smaller, like let's say your firm's doing under $1.5 million a year, you probably want to go 80% on demand marketing, right? Because you don't have the money or the time to invest in brand building or awareness marketing. You need immediate ROI with every dollar that you spend. So we always suggest that firms that are under that 1.5 million mark, you got to overinvest on your demand marketing strategy because you don't have the time and money to waste on brand building at scale just yet, right? 1.5 million plus, okay, now we can start scaling up our awareness marketing, right? So let's talk about awareness marketing, okay? So the number one website for, now there's one other tangent actually I forgot on demand, okay? There's a growing cohort of people, prospective new clients, who are in demand of legal services, however, search for those services not through Google, okay? So this is kind of growing in popularity. TikTok search, okay? Like, I know my wife does this all the time. When she has a question and she wants to see a video tutorial, like an example is, my 20-month-old baby, Cammie, she wants to buy the best, side carrier for my daughter, right? She doesn't go to Google to search best side carrier for, 20-month-old. She goes on TikTok and she says best side carrier, like in the search bar of TikTok, best side carrier for 20-month-old, right? And then she'll see, product review video, 1 minute product review video from someone, with 15 seconds showing, side carrier 1, side carrier 2, side carrier 3, and then maybe their thoughts on which one's the best, right? So she will actually watch some of these videos in order to make a purchase decision, right? So the same thing happens, with legal advice. This is why, lawyer reacts videos are so popular on TikTok, is people want to see a lawyer's spin on a specific situation. That's more awareness marketing. But my point is, search traffic is increasing through the other social media apps, specifically TikTok. The other place where it's been increasing, and it's actually, there's arguments that it could be increasing over time, like higher than the rate of organic SEO, is video SEO, right? Is answering YouTube is a search engine first and foremost, right? It has a search bar. Like, yes, most videos are delivered on YouTube through suggested video, meaning you pop up to your homepage of YouTube and you get force-fed videos that you can click on the homepage of YouTube, which is custom for everyone based on their viewing history. But you can get in front of demand marketing clients, quote unquote, by having a FAQ based YouTube strategy, right? Answering bottom of funnel questions, people who are ready to hire lawyers, those type of questions around your practice area. That is another direct intent strategy. And we actually think we've actually just innovated a new service, which we haven't even announced yet, where we run all of your social media content for you. And we actually can do it using your AI avatar, so you don't even have to make any online videos except for 1 2-minute avatar video. Because we see where the puck is going, right? Video SEO is what people are increasingly demanding. If I could watch a 1-minute video to get an answer to my question instead of reading a 20-page blog post, most people are going to opt for getting the video explainer, right? So expand your definition of what demand marketing is, right? It's also ChatGPT now. It's also showing up when people search things in the search bar of these social media platforms, et cetera, et cetera. All right, let's transition to awareness marketing, okay? Awareness marketing is you showing up for people when they are not searching for you, okay? Now, there's a lot of stuff I'm leaving out in demand marketing, how to select the right keywords, how to do the right audience targeting. It's all in the book, but I'm going to transition to awareness marketing. But you have to read this section. I mean, you're burning money if you haven't read the demand and awareness section of Law Firm Growth Accelerator. So you have to read these sections of the book. Awareness marketing, okay? This is where your highest lead volume can come from, okay? So this is finding out how to get in front of people when they are not in need or searching for you, okay? The majority of only 3% of the market at any given time is in demand for legal services, okay, of any given person in a market. 97% of people are not in immediate demand for legal services. That means 97% of the opportunity exists in your awareness marketing strategy. Now, there's plenty of fish in the sea when it comes to cases. So a firm that's doing under 1.5, that 3% is plenty to get you enough leads to scale your firm by conquering your demand marketing strategy. But if you want scale, and you're ready for it, you've got to layer awareness marketing on top of your demand marketing strategy. That's how it works the best, by the way. It's not an either or. We have a demand strategy that's humming, that gets us that 3-to-1 ROI, $1 in, $3 out stuff, right? And then we layer on top of it. I call it lead abundance layering, right? This is how you expand a business, by the way, in your marketing. You never stop a platform, right? You make what are called platform commitments. I commit to Google as a platform for my demand marketing. I commit to ChatGPT. I commit to showing up in the search bar of X social media channels, right? And then we get that humming, and then we layer on awareness marketing. All right. So awareness marketing, what options do we have to get in front of people when they're not yet in need of our services? They're not yet demanding our services. Well, in the traditional world, this really was TV, radio, billboards. And, today you're still big spenders on TV, radio, and billboards. It's just that the return is so much lower than it was when that was the primary awareness vehicle. So, if you look at a billboard on the side of the road, most people aren't even looking at the billboard because they're not even looking at the road. They're looking at their phones, right? Which is unfortunate and causes a bunch of accidents, but people are glued to their phones. Their phone, your phone is an extension of your identity. Average person checks their phone 159 times a day and spends over 3 hours a day on social media. So the best way to get in front of people who are not yet, in demand of your services is social media. Social media is trackable because it's done through the internet. You can actually track return on investment better than you can through offline marketing. There's no barrier to entry. With TV, radio, billboards, there's a high cost barrier to entry, right? So there's no barrier to entry other than you creating content, which anybody can do with their phone, right? And a ring light, you don't even need a microphone hookup. You can literally just take your iPhone, get a ring light, get an iPhone holder, create your short form videos in vertical form, create your long form videos in horizontal form, and all that requires you to do is twist your phone. I mean, it's like the simplest thing ever. There is zero barrier to entry to awareness marketing on social media. So what is it? Well, it ultimately comes down to A, your organic marketing strategy on social media, or B, your paid marketing strategy on social media. So what a lot of people, I think, mistakenly think is, number one, we go through these myths in the book on page 304. Myth number one is that the myth that organic marketing is cheaper. Yeah, it is cheaper on the surface, meaning I can post a video to TikTok for free, but it requires so much time and so much investment, right, of resources and time that it's actually not free, right? It's not free because it requires so much of your time to conquer organic social media, right? So it's actually more expensive from a time perspective, right? I probably have to put out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos before I start seeing traction on organic social, whereas I could just put up one ad and boost the spend on that ad on a social media ad, and it saves me 200 times the time because I only had to make one ad instead of 200. And with the power of AI avatars, holy crap. I mean, you can really make one ad and then create different versions of that ad very quickly. The other big myth that a lot of people kind of, I think, mistakenly think of social media as is a platform to get likes and views. Likes and views do not matter. What matters is you signing cases from your social media. That's all that matters, right? So if you want to pursue likes and views, get ready to be broke, because most of the attorneys that I've interviewed that get a bunch of likes and views through social media through a spray and pray mass appeal approach, they are not getting a bunch of signed cases through their efforts, and it's costing them a lot of money to do all of that organic content that seems free on the surface. Number 3, your videos need to look highly polished. This is completely false. This is another myth. Human videos work better than polished videos, right? So selfie form, being relatable. There's already a stigma around attorneys, right? People feel intimidated around attorneys. You need to humanize yourself, right? And myth number 4, probably the biggest myth, is that social media ads are a waste of money, okay? No. Okay, the biggest waste is on your time, okay? So what needs to happen is we need to prioritize paid advertising on social media over our organic strategy. Now, I'm not saying you abandon organic content, okay? You need to be posting stuff on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, short form content, along with your YouTube long form content and YouTube, your YouTube Shorts as well, which is short form content. YouTube's a unique platform because you can post your short, under 1 minute videos, your very short videos, and you can post, videos like, 2 hours long if you wanted to, or 30 minutes long. You can unlimited time, right? You can post long form and short form videos. Short form videos are what pull in a new audience. Long form videos are what nurture your audience, right? So, but we don't need to worry about that, right? We need to put out some stuff on organic content, but what we really need to do first is figure out ads, okay? So, and ads are the only immediate way to get a return on investment from your social media marketing, right? If I create content for 3 years, okay, organic content, and that's free, there's no guarantee that my videos will ever show up or go viral, right? Not to mention, we've had plenty of clients of ours who have followed our social media marketing masterclass process and have built videos that have gotten millions of views and built their subscriber base to hundreds of thousands of people. And those videos that went viral showed up in states they couldn't even handle cases from, right? So the problem with organic is you can't do geo-targeting. You can't force your organic content to only show up in the area in which you serve cases. So what can happen is let's say you have let's say you have an organic piece of content, video content that goes viral, and it blows up your social media channels, and you get flooded with all these calls from out-of-state unqualified leads, which is what's going to happen. It's going to clog up your intake system, and then you're going to lose the qualified leads that come in because you're going to be too busy on the phone with the unqualified leads. So there is a bunch of negatives that happen when you scale your organic content strategy, a lot of which you can remove through a very specific, targeted, geo-fenced social media ad strategy. So social media ads. Okay, let's talk about the types of ads. We have retargeting, direct response lead generation, and then what we call the 25 cube strategy. So first and foremost, okay, before I go into these different strategies, let's talk about the targeting advantages of using ads versus organic, okay? So I can select the demographic information of who I want to send my ads to. I can select a geo-fence so that my ads primarily only show up in the market in which I can serve, right, through a point radius targeting. Let's say you put a point on the map, you select a 5-mile radius around that point, and that is where your ads will primarily show up. You can't do that in organic content. You can't do demographic targeting in organic content. So anyone and everyone can see your videos, no matter where they're located, no matter what their demographics are. So targeting. You also can't target interests, right? You can do interest targeting in your Facebook ads, and you can show ads to people who have specific online interests, making it more likely that your ads are showing to qualified leads. So let's talk about the three types, okay? We have retargeting, direct response lead gen, and 25 cube. All right, retargeting. This is the easiest thing. If you are not running retargeting ads, you are burning money, okay? So let's say in a given month, you have 300 potential new clients visit your law firm's website, okay? And let's say 30 of those 300 people pick up the phone and call you, okay? That means that 270 of the 300 people who visited your website last month did not pick up the phone, okay? Let's say the thing that got them to your website is a mix of your Google advertisements, your SEO presence, your reviews, blah, 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 blah. You already spent money and time getting them to your website, okay? They just didn't pick up the phone at the second they visited your website. Retargeting is showing social media ads to people who have already engaged with your law firm in some way, shape, or form. Example, they visited your website, but they didn't pick up the phone and call you. That is the highest return on investment form of social media advertising. And best of all, you can launch it immediately and show your ads, in essence, to a hot audience, right? Now, there's some Spidey strategies that you can do here, which I'm not going to go into the weeds to, but you can set up YouTube ads. Since YouTube is owned by Google, okay, YouTube allows you to do keyword targeting on your YouTube video ads, right? So everything, Facebook ads and YouTube ads, let's bucket these together, but they're slightly different strategies. YouTube ads, you can do keyword targeting, meaning I can show a YouTube ad to someone who yesterday typed in personal injury lawyer on Google, right? So I can do intent-based marketing. I can market to people who showed intent for my law firm's practice area and location yesterday. I can show them a YouTube ad. If they click that YouTube ad and then are brought to my website page that's attributed to that ad, I can then pixel them. Then when they log on to Facebook 2 hours later, I can show them an ad on Facebook based on the fact that they clicked my YouTube ad. So I actually can show Facebook ads to people indirectly based on what people typed in on Google, show them a YouTube ad, have them click the YouTube ad, maybe they don't convert and pick up the phone, and then I could show them a Facebook ad based on what they originally searched on Google, right? Because of that chain of events and the power of the pixel, right? So retargeting, I would spend if you don't have it launched, spend 80% of your time on social media ads figuring out a bulletproof retargeting strategy, because if you already spent money to get a lead, the most expensive thing you can do is not follow up on that lead and see it through to a phone call and to a signed case. Follow up. Number 2, direct response lead generation. These are the ads that direct someone to an immediate call to action, okay? So these are your direct response ads, okay? This is you saying, where you were a loved one involved in blah, 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 blah. Here's a misconception I've learned about people in your situation. State a nuanced fact. click the link below to talk to a member of my team to get a resolution, right? That's it. Super simple. Those are called direct response lead generation ads. You can show direct response lead generation ads to your retargeting audience, meaning people who already interacted with your law firm, or you can show your direct response lead gen ad to people who are in the cold audience bucket, meaning everybody over the age of X in this demographic filter in St. Louis, 10-mile radius, right? So you can show, direct response lead gen ads to either an less targeted, bigger cold audience, right? Of, people who truly are unaware of you. And you could set it to, you could send these ads, set it up to show them to a retargeting audience, which is people who already know your law firm's brand and already interacted with you, but they just didn't pick up the phone to call you. And last but not least is the 25 cubed strategy. Okay, this is on page 309 of the book. 25 cube strategy is a mix of both of these kind of strategies, where we we make a more entertaining ad. It's called 25 cubed because we want someone to watch at least 25% of a chain of 3 videos, okay? So the first 25%, so let's say you put out an ad that says, here's 3 things every dad needs to know when they go through a divorce in Arizona, right? Number 1, number 2, number 3, okay? So let's say you create an ad on just value, on 3 things every dad must know in Arizona about blah, 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 in a divorce. Let's say someone watches that video at least 25% of the way through. What we found is 25% is a point of interest where it shows the person was interested enough in that ad to watch it, okay? Anything below 25%, those are your scrollers, that the ad positioning didn't resonate with them, so there's no reason to follow up with them. So everybody who watches that first video at least 25% through is then sent a second video, okay? This second video is a little bit more close to booking a call without booking a call, where we say, it could be something like, hey, I know you saw my last video on 3 things, that every dad needs to be aware of, divorce in Arizona. But I want to give you another thing that another tidbit, and then a little bit of a selling point around how your firm does things differently, and then you don't have to do a direct call to action there. And then if somebody watched 25% of the first video and 25% of the second video, they then are put into a third bucket of hot audience on social media, meaning they watch your first video 25% plus through, their second video 25% plus through. So now we can send them a direct response ad saying, hey, you've seen my past 2 videos, and what I want to do is extend you the opportunity to book a call with my team to go through your specific situation, So click the link below to talk to a member of my team, right? That 25 cube strategy, we have seen clients go from, getting 100 leads in a month to 100 leads in a day by just learning this strategy, okay? And we have example after example after example in so many different practice areas of how to bridge this educational ad approach to the direct response through the 25 cube strategy. But the point that I'm sharing in all this is those 3 methods are your only 3 ways to really get an immediate return on investment through social media. And what I love about ads is they're real time, right? If I'm wondering what content resonates best with my audience, I'm not really clear on what to make content on for my organic content, your ads will tell you the truth. You can turn on an ad for a week, see how well it resonates, and then you can know with data whether or not it converted to any clients, right? If it's a home run ad, then it's like, hey, let's create 15 organic videos around this one topic because this one topic works so well when we ran an ad on it and we got immediate feedback on that, right? When you don't have an audience, you could put out hundreds and hundreds of videos on organic social media, but if nobody watches them, you're never really going to get data on what works. With social media ads, you're able to force feed your content to people on YouTube and or Facebook, Instagram, and you're able to get immediate feedback from that force feeding of content to people to see their response, to then know what type of content you want to go deeper into and what type of content you want to go not as deep into in the future. So awareness marketing, how much do you put into awareness marketing? Well, if your firm's doing over 1.5 million, you're probably at a point where you can invest the actual resources to truly scale your your ad strategy, your social media ads / awareness strategy. So maybe a smaller firm puts 10 to 15% of their budget towards their social media awareness bucket. Maybe a bigger firm, you start capping out your Google spend. When you're spending tens and tens of thousands of dollars a month on Google, we have to get to a point where we transition that our ad allocation maybe goes a little bit more towards awareness marketing, because we're approaching the threshold of the 3% of the market at any given time that's in demand for your services. So now it's time to expand how much of that 97% we get in front of. This is why when S&B team started as a company, we spent most of our budget on Google. But once we hit the, call it $4 million mark, stark difference where we kept our Google spend at a lot. I mean, we're talking like 50 to 100 grand a month, but now we spend, $250 to $350 a month on ad spend for, our social media / awareness marketing, because we got so in front of the in-demand market that we had to expand through awareness marketing. So awareness marketing is going to be, if you can crack the code on it, going to be your biggest kind of, I guess I would say your biggest lead volume potential over the long term. But it's very important to understand when to go all in on awareness marketing and truly make this a large part of your time investment and or money investment in scaling the lead generation of your firm. We do have, as I mentioned, which I haven't announced to anyone, we do have a brand new social media service that we've spent basically, our entire video department has spent the last couple of years getting to a point where we're finally ready to release this. But we have released the industry's only organic and paid ads content and social media marketing service as an extension of the services that S&B team provides, in addition to our business coaching, fractional CFOs, fractional COOs. That's kind of our business coaching side, and advisory side. We have our marketing agency. We have about 100 full-time W-2 employees that work in our marketing agency. And one department of our marketing agency is our video department, separate from our website SEO, Google Ads department, and our social media ads department. Our video department exists to help law firms create world-class videos that they can use to scale their organic social media and their social media advertising strategy. So we'll actually create 30 short-form videos for you every month and 4 long-form videos. We'll post them to your social media channels, and we'll create all of your social media ads for your law firm. And you have the option of using an AI avatar to create your ads. So all you have to do is film 1 2-minute video, and then we can launch all your social media content for the entire next year, every single month, without you needing to get on video any additional times. So if you want more information on that, email justin.hernandez@smbteam.com. If you want any info on that, you could be in our early launch group for this. And yeah, be excited to see if it's a mutual fit. We're super excited about this new service that we're rolling out. But let's not forget, we also have arguably the best Google advertising team in the industry, which is really half of that demand bucket that we went through. And our SEO team is absolutely world-class. So if you even just want a full comprehensive audit on all of your marketing, your paid ads on Google, social, even your organic strategy, your website, etc., we'd be happy to help you and give you a free comprehensive custom audit to help your firm. Even if it ends up with us not working with you or anything, we're willing to give you all the tips and tricks that we've learned in the over 100 million in ad spend we've managed and advised on for law firm clients like you, so that you can not waste money on your marketing. That's the goal, because I'm just sick and tired of attorneys getting burned. So hope you got value from this episode. If you want any information on that, again, you can email justin.hernandez@smbteam.com. And I'll see you in the next episode. Stay great.